So this is the beauty. This is my gamer, yeah. So that's my gamer, and then this is the one I've had. I got this when I was 16, and I used it up until about 2 years ago. So I've had it for played it for about 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And I swapped my irons around 2 years ago for the Mizunos.
Yeah.
And the Mizuno fanboy made me go, I need to get a putter as well.
Yeah.
So I got a Mizuno putter, and then this came out, and it's like, this is a nice little face balance old school one, but it is longer. And weirdly enough, until I come in here, I've noticed just practicing with it, it does feel a little bit less strain on my back, just being a tiny bit higher.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mizuno, I was like, well, I kind of change it, exact same one, but a black head, because in the summer it's better. I'm like, I might as well get a fit then, because there's no point just buying another off the shelf one if I'm going to spend the money. But so that's kind of like my two gamers, as you'd say.
No problem. You can definitely have a look at that. And is it a case you want to change putter, or would it be?
I don't mind. I mean, I'd like to see all the options. I'm happy to have a new putter within a budget-ish, not like it's an £800 driver kind of thing. But because I've been, the thing I guess everyone does as soon as they get excited about a fitting, I've been on YouTube, I've seen every new putter coming out. I've watched every putter fitting. I did the same with my driver, and I think I want to get a Cobra driver, and TSR2 is perfect. It's that kind of thing. So I'm having a look around, but it's kind of got to fit the same needs as the feel of the Mizuno. Even if it's changing the grip, because another putter, I don't want to play with this putter, but the grip is what I call my perfect grip. I just never got around to changing it. That thing just feels so good compared to that. But the feel of that face is second to none. Even more than my Scotty.
That's good.
Wowzers.
So whereabouts you play golf?
Hartley Whitney.
Okay.
Not too bad. It's just been a bit. It's not really a winter club. They do that kind of cool thing where they can because it used to be originally a 9. They can break it down back to the old 9 when it's waterlogged out the back, and so you can play round twice rather than the full 18. Or holes 5 and 6 will be taken out of action. We'll just play 16 holes or something. Cool.
Right. Do you use a line on the ball when you putt?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
Perfect. You don't have to do that yet if you don't want to, but obviously you can line up. I'll show you how to set the ball up.
Cool.
So the idea is you've got your imaginary hole here, which is about 15 feet away. Obviously, you're trying to get it through that as best you can. Now, what we want to see is the ball rolling into the board. It's going to hit the board, not at a massive pace where it looks like it's going to jump over, but I don't want to see it where it's just trickling into it. So what
just
I call
a little
2 to 3 foot pass.
This
is quite a quick surface. It runs at about 15 on the stim. So don't panic if the first few hit a little bit hard. And then we'll just have a look at what you're doing. And then once you're comfortable with that, I'll put you on to Quintec, and then we can start to analyse what you're doing.
Amazing. It's going to be fun.
So any putting lessons in the past at all?
Should I just keep with these ones?
Whatever one.
Probably when I was 16. So it's been a while. I used to be a junior at West Hill. Back in the days and it was only £100. And there was a guy there called John Clements, who was my original teacher. He's still there now, I believe. Well, he's very much of a. He plays there, but shoots his age kind of thing now. Guy, I think, is the pro there now. He was the junior when I was there. But I had a lesson with John, but that was it really. Other than that.
Obviously, you enjoy your putting. Do you find that there's anything you struggle with it? Do you have a tendency to miss one way or the other? Or?
It's kind of neutral either side, really. I always I do think I'd say until you test it, you don't know if you're good or not. But I have the Arcos system. It's it is always the best part of my game is usually good putting. I say it now, and I just missed everything. But
you're fine. So far, you're looking good. Everything's tracking close to the hole or over it. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where once I got into my head that there's no such things as obviously the right, left putts, left, right, but every putt is actually straight. It's all depending on the line you go for. as long as you can hit a straight putt, you should be good.
Yeah.
That's the only. I tell you what is a tendency I do sometimes is what I just did then.
Yeah.
Is I get the wiggle on the way back,
Okay.
which is kind of something I've got used to because of with the face balance. I never had it as much as with this one. It's the usually the woo,
Yeah.
and then it comes in.
Yeah.
Not very 1 in 5.
Okay.
I can feel myself doing it when I do it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a pull, but
That pace control is good, so that's absolutely fine. We
I've
can.
been doing a lot of practice this week.
Yeah, there you go. Doing quite well then. Right, so I'll whack some dots on your putter. This
Cool.
is the tedious bit where you've got to
Oh
stay in
yeah.
your posture for about
Oh okay.
5-10 seconds. So just follow that. And then what we can start to look at is what you're doing with the putter itself. Yeah. When you say about the wobbling, obviously the face balance design of that, it'll create a bit more stability on the way back. Obviously on the way through, you might end up with more rotation because there's less weighting slowing down on the toe. But yeah, it's always that catch-22 of if you're a high rotator, sometimes you need a bit of that toe hang, but then if you need that balance to try and help you keep a more stable backswing, it's like where do you go with it and making sure you get the right putter that sort of gives you a bit of the best of both worlds.
Okay. It's almost as if I said this is more interesting than the driver fittings. Once you've got your head around, it's so more
it's
things to look at.
Quite a lot of numbers. So if you can set up to that block for me, that's it. Just stay nice and relaxed with your grip. You're going to hear a few beeps shortly.
Cool.
Perfect. Right, if I can borrow your putter.
Cool.
So yeah, you'll see up on the screen,
Oh yeah.
Quintex found the dots, and then all we need to do is just give it a bit of information to say how far away the dots are.
Oh. You want to get you square. That's better.
And then yeah, we just measure the middle of your putter as well, how far away that is to the toe. And then the last thing is basically the angle of the hosel going in, which yours is a bummer's neck, so 90 degrees.
Marvellous.
So if I give you that back, now all your putts, you're going to putt from that silver dot, the ball's just going to sit just in front. You'll see 3 dots on the side there. Because you use a line, I'm going to let you line it up.
Perfect.
And that way we get to see a reference of how you align it. So if you tell me when you're happy with the first one. If you just go a bit further forward in front of the dot, sorry.
Okay.
That's it, perfect.
Yep, happy with that.
Right, so that's in play. You can do as many practice swings as you want. It won't pick it up until you strike the ball.
Perfect. This is one of those weird ones. I don't take practice swings.
Yeah.
And one of those weird ones.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I've a lot of pros that have done that before and it's worked quite well for them.
And is it just a matter of just giving it a hit?
Yeah, just try and do what you were doing before, see if you can hold it. Good. And then what you'll see appear on the left-hand screen will be all the numbers of what you've done.
Cool.
Essentially, how you hit it, where you struck it. I'll explain there what each of those means and how you go through it, or club twist and all your face angle and things like that.
Amazing.
But we'll get sort of at least 5 or 6 putts down there.
Cool.
Now we can get a nice average.
There we go.
There we go. So that's all ready to go again.
Cool. Oh, bit of a pull there.
Yeah. There we go. A little bit from it. Okay.
You know, I knew straight away when I did it as well, like, oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Hear a beep in a few seconds.
Cool.
There you
You gonna get your steps in today?
go. Yeah, no,
green's good, red's not so good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get the red down. And
yeah. So left-hand side's pretty tidy. Yeah. Right-hand side, which is more to do with how the ball's launching off the putter.
Yep.
But that's actually a little bit to do with how your stroke goes and how you set up as well. So
cool.
I'll explain that as we go through.
So, pull that again.
Yeah, it's just where you're slightly aiming and what you're doing.
And pulling, like aiming left almost.
Yeah. So have one more go. Yeah. So essentially what you're doing, like in reference to how the machine sees it, of you're aiming a little bit left to start off with.
Okay.
And then you're sort of just holding it or cutting a little bit across. Now, when you get that right, you push it on nicely. You can actually see your face angle is blue, which is robotic there.
Cool.
But what you'll get a rough idea of where your aim was, so there's a little grey number just down here.
Okay.
So that was minus 0.94. So you're aiming around roughly a degree to the left.
Okay.
And then you've pushed it basically onto line. So
got lucky.
it's one of those things it's something you've learned to do. The stroke's not massively out to in, by the way. This isn't like a sort of huge movement, but there's definitely a little bit of that tendency of what people might refer to as straight back, straight through.
Yeah.
And then what happens from there is you either hold it off nicely, push it on line, or you follow it through, and that's where the pull putt comes from.
Okay.
And then what you can end up with is the ball starts to sort of roll sideways as well as it's going through. So when you see here of how it's picking up, it starts to lose the rotation of the ball because it's going over. So it can't pick up the full skid over that sort of 16-inch radius. I mean, looking at a summary though in terms of how you're hitting your putts, from a face rotation point, you weren't really over-rotating the face, which is great. So you had good control of what you were doing.
Okay.
But the problem is that the tendency was you were aiming a little bit left.
Yeah.
And because sometimes you did a good putt,
you
hit it straight there. Other times you pushed it slightly and you got it to go over the hole.
Yeah.
So what you end up with there also is it's actually like a bit of a cutty drive. It's adding a little bit of loft.
Just giving that,
and that's what's creating a bit more launch angle for you. And that's essentially going to cause you to get a bit of a bouncing ball effect.
Okay,
So the ball starts jumping quite a bit, which could, on a longer green, start to give you problems from distance.
You don't want it to, you don't want to bounce in the first putt.
Yeah. So you need an initial launch, like a sort of 1 to 2-ish degrees, roughly around that. Because on a standard green outside, gravity presses the ball down.
Yep.
It's going to sit slightly down in the
pop
ground.
out a little hole.
It needs to pop out of that hole a little bit. So we didn't want negative launch or no launch, unless you were putting on this all day long. You'd be fine. But yeah, yours is just a fraction high. So again, it could just disturb how consistent you are with the ball getting to the hole, sort of on a higher percentage. So I don't know if that's something you've ever struggled with, distance control.
I've gotten better over the last few years.
Okay.
It's not so many free putts as I used to have.
Yeah.
I think it's because as I'm getting better, it's getting closer to the hole, so I tend to make more than it would go past. I'm quite more worried about going too far than being short, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, when we look at putter fitting as such, these two numbers here, the face angle and face rotation, are your two most important.
Okay.
Obviously, they speak for themselves. Your face angle, that's the number at impact, so 0.11. It's lighting up blue, robotic. That's as good as a machine can do.
Cool.
We'd love to see that all the time.
Yeah.
Or at least a green number as the one below it. That rotational point, it'll be interesting as we go along because you're someone who brings it a little bit out and slightly holds it. That means you're going to have less rotation because essentially you're holding the putter from closing too much.
Cool.
So it'll be interesting if you slightly change what you're doing, whether the rotation comes in a little bit more.
Okay.
Attack angle wise, you're a little bit on the slightly steeper side. It's not horrendous, but you slightly hit down through it.
Okay, I thought you say up because I always have my ball quite.
Yeah, no, you're not too bad, to be fair. You're still a little bit down in terms of what you're doing. But you hit nicely through the core of the golf ball, which is good. Which would lead us all to things of then we'd want to take a little bit of loft off your putter. Bit too much loft there, that's why it's
jumping off.
Up. So if you maintained basically all those things there that you're doing, a quick loft change to your putter, you wouldn't be a million miles away.
Cool.
But we have got to work out why your tendency is to aim a little bit left.
Yeah.
Because there's clearly something in there. But before I do that, I want to do your putter.
Absolutely happy to,
And then that way we can get a good idea of how that one works against the other.
Yeah, because it's funny. I guess when I was at home the last few days, I've been practicing as much as I can with this one.
Yeah.
Then I'd get that one out and be like, oh, I'm hitting it straight.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to be doing this because that's not the putt I use. But it's interesting, I guess, like, especially with the length of it as well, being an inch longer.
Yeah.
It just feels a bit more relaxing. Because when I do my practice, I do get a little bit achy. I don't have a bit of a weak back anyway. Yeah. So just being a little bit higher just seems to help me, I think.
Feel a bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be interested to see again the sort of distinguishing white line versus that against the chrome.
Yeah.
That may shift your aim a little bit. So again, that could put you online. It could put you further away.
Yeah.
We'll soon discover that and just see what goes on.
It's funny how, like, because obviously different putters, like the two ball, my dad likes it. I can't stand it. I don't understand how it works.
Yeah.
And it freaks me out. I'm like, there's too many things I'm looking at.
It's interesting because it's one of the last putters that doesn't have a line on it left in circulation. All the others seem to have lines, which some people don't putt very well with lines on their putters.
Yeah. Or the little, I don't mind the little dot as well, but
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've always putted, well, because I've had that one for so long, I've always putted with a line on my putter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I say, some people don't even really pay attention to it. Others, it's like a really key point to how they line up. Everyone's different in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, with me, that's because I use the line on the ball. I kind of look down, got the line on the ball, okay. Then I look at the line on the putter, I'm okay. Then I don't look at the putter anymore, I just concentrate on the ball.
Yeah.
So I kind of hopefully know that that's all one piece. Then it's gravity and me to take up to take its issue, really. Yeah. I think.
If you let me know when you're happy, I'll start that one, please.
Yep, that's good.
Okay, that's all ready to go. And then,
Lovely.
Good. Okay.
Well, it flipped around all of a sudden.
Have another go from it.
No more blue, that's the worrying. I like the blue bits. Oh, little pulley again. Little heel, I think that was.
Okay, interesting. Still a definite tendency to aim this left, and as it's getting further away from you, it's sort of manipulating what you're doing and where you're going. The launch is coming down because essentially you're closing it over, but it's going quite a long way left of where we want it to in terms of aim. Yeah, even more so in this one, you're aiming further left.
Okay.
And then you're trying to like hit a bit of a cut. So you're like nearly 4 degrees left with the aim.
Oh, wow.
And then you're sort of managing to cut across it enough that you can get it going towards the whole bit. You still see it saying, okay, minus just over a degree left at impact. But as you're doing that move, a little bit of the toe strike helps as well there to deflect it
get there
onto target. The launch is naturally down purely because of your having a bit more of a closed face at impact rather than opening it up. So that is helping a little bit. But yeah, I would definitely say out of the two, you aim that one slightly better. Whether that's a little bit to do with it's a bit more over it, eye line, or it's just the features of that stands a little bit more out. And the line is leading you the wrong way, which we're going to test now and just start to see what you see visually. Which I'll do with that putter first. I'll just take the stickers off for you. And then we'll do it with your Mizuno.
Marvellous.
And then that way at least we've got a nice base point of, at least if you're going to go with one or the other, you know. With.
God, there's a lot of putters in here.
If you like putting, it's a
You got the lab putters as well.
I
wasn't sure if you'd have them or not.
I got a couple of them purely because so many people have asked.
They're,
an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's a bit weird looking, but I guess whatever works for certain people, it's
essentially, well, it comes from the same idea of a face balance putter. Essentially, obviously, they're claiming it to be the most balanced, but the thing I've always sort of gone with is you don't sort of use a cradle as their advertising campaign.
I know, I've seen that.
That's not how we putt. We're human beings who generally, when we putt, we create a bit of an arc. We sort of move around ourselves. So therefore, a putter that stays balanced, to me, if it's moving on an arc or a natural stroke that it should be, it just looks like all it's going to do is go with you and flip over more. So if you're someone who possibly aims right or misses right, it'll probably be a really good putter. If you're someone who misses left, it'll probably be a shocking putter. And you'd really have to manipulate it to get it in the right place.
Gotcha.
Right, so you may have seen this, but this is a little test for your eye line.
Okay.
So what we need to do first, set up with your putter, nice and close to the block. It doesn't have to be touching, but close enough. Now what I want you to do, you're going to look up sort of vertically from the pointer itself and just tell me where you feel like that pointer is aiming.
Right edge.
Okay. No, that's fine. Now the next one, this is the hard bit I always find. You're going to ignore that bit and you're going to use the block and the sort of putter face nicely squared off against the block and tell me where you feel like the block and putter face is pointing in reference to the hole from there.
Slightly right as well. Bit right edge.
Okay. So that initial bit, and it was interesting because when I was watching you line the ball up, you were lining the ball up slightly right.
Okay.
So when you were doing your stroke and setting up there, you're seeing stuff from the right edge with this putter. So for whatever reason, you're then aiming it left to compensate for that. Which means that possibly lines or the shape, we'll find out the colour of how much that changes and obviously the length of it, with you being a bit closer on this one. So what I want you to do again, first test is up and down that pointer line once you're comfortable. And just tell me where you think that's pointing in reference to the hole.
So now that looks like left edge. Yeah.
So it's interesting, your eye line with your 35-inch was more inside here. Your eye line with this one, you're actually going a bit too far over. And then that's put you the other way. If you set up again, and then if you try and use the block shape in your putter face, and again, just tell me where you think that's.
So that looks pretty square.
Yeah, so that would tell me when you're getting your eyes over the ball, the line on this putter is still throwing you off a little bit.
Okay.
But actually the squareness of the putter with your eyes closer seems to be
helping
straighter. So you're using a line to aim in reference to where you're getting the ball, you're trying to find that balance, and then you're following the putter as you go through to target.
Cool.
So there's a good consistent tendency with both putters on the line side of things of you go the opposite of where you're going. The style or the colour, it seems to be that squareness you aim better as a brighter colour rather than a darker colour.
Cool.
So that would point us that we don't really want to go down the route of a black putter. Just purely for what you see. If you have one more go, just set up to that with the pointer. But what I want you to do this time is just adjust your eye line. So just sort of move yourself back and just again look up and down and tell me where you think that point's now.
It's inside left.
Okay. Now move your eye line a bit more over. So now have another look.
Probably more centre.
More centre. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So if you think of visually, now we don't ever want to go too far over. What we found with putting, and I'm sure a lot of the coaches now will say that either straight over or slightly inside is the best way to be.
Okay.
Because you have that arcing. Where you were slightly inside there, you clearly see that sort of line quite nicely. You were seeing it slightly down the left because that's where your eyes were. When you moved a little bit more over the butt, you started to see it much straighter.
Yep.
So definitely, I wouldn't want to go back to a 35, purely based on how your arms sit and what you're doing.
Cool.
You might get away with 34.5, but I wouldn't go too much more than that if you were going to extend it, just purely on the case of we don't want your eye line getting pushed too far away, otherwise you're going to start seeing left as straight.
So in terms of like over-egging it, like the closer you are like that, and then the higher up you are, you're that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're essentially, if I borrowed that, you're moving, so you're starting like that, and then as you're a little bit higher up, it's pushing you
backwards.
This way up,
yep.
And then all of a sudden your eye line's coming here, so you'd have to go
gotcha.
to try and correct it, which is then probably going to be an uncomfortable position for you.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it's just trying to get it feeling
cool.
quite nice and continuous. Good.
Nice.
Right. Okay, so yeah, first thing we've got to do is see if we can get a putter that you just line up a little bit better.
Yep.
And once we can do that, then we'll be well away.
And the only thing I do have a little bit of preference is I'm not a mallet fan.
Okay.
Which probably makes things a lot worse. I've never used one since a kid, and whenever I get one in my hand, it just feels weird. I don't mind like double wides or square backs kind of look.
Yeah.
But more bladey than bulbous kind of, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, scratching your brain now like, oh no, mallet would be perfect.
I think it's a case of just balancing off of where you said the stroke can get a bit wobbly sometimes. Yep. So I think we want to try and keep some balance in the putter.
Yeah.
But I do like the toe hang element. I feel like you have, it reduces your rotation. It keeps the putter nice and sort of stable. It doesn't allow it to flip over too much.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of a best of both worlds here.
Perfect.
So this is a long plumber's neck, so creates a tiny bit of toe hang, but it's almost balanced.
Yeah.
So it sits very close in between your two putters.
I do like the plumber's neck versions, and it's because would that be like a 40 kind of degree my Mizuno one toe hang, and that more like a 25 to 0 kind of like not a lot, but there's enough there to
just a little bit. We'll stick close to 34, and we'll just see. We can always adjust it. And you say you prefer that?
So not mid-size, but something a little bit more.
A little bit thicker.
Yeah, nothing too standard, but like just a little bit extra.
Okay.
It might be like one of those things where I end up not needing the. Because it's when I tried my dad's got like a jumbo, like massive grip. I just feels like it's not. I just can't hit with it.
Yeah.
I like to not use my hands, but I definitely like the feeling still, rather than getting away from that.
Yeah, that's fine. Heard of even roll before?
I have, yeah.
So one we test with them a lot, just purely based on because of all their adaptive hosels. Essentially, we can keep changing to suit the player, and then from there we can make recommendations on what other putter brands, what you would need to get as close as possible.
Cool.
Also, they're one of the best in terms of their face technology and how it rolls. 2 degree starting loft as well. So for someone who's launched tends to get higher, this could be quite a good way to go.
Because I googled the stats, and I think it's a 4 degree on the Mizuno.
Yeah,
it's quite.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of loft for what you're doing there. So, and like I say, that's not necessarily something that we couldn't then manipulate and come back to, but we'll just see how you aim this one.
Cool.
So yeah, it'd be interesting. I know it sounds silly again, slightly different colour line on
Yeah.
that. We had to see if that makes any changes, but I'd say the initial bit for you of how you line up is definitely trying to use the shape of the putter.
Yes, I think you're definitely correct in terms of the colour.
Yeah.
Because I mean, once a year when I'm in Spain, I'm not too worried about the shininess.
Yeah.
But I do find with the black, I like the black, of course, but it's harder to contrast against the green. For the silver, you can see the line of the face easier.
Yeah.
It's just the occasional low sunrise, which is what happens once a year.
Yeah. I completely understand that, but yeah, it might just be one of those things to
Yeah.
tolerate.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm happy to go whatever works, as long as it's not a mallet.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. You can still create balance through a blade-like style putter. It's always to do with the hosel style.
Cool.
So essentially, the first entry point of the hosel, where that goes in, will always create the balance element, not the shape of the putter itself.
Okay.
Because you can have mallet putters with very short slants.
Yeah.
There will still be massively toe hang. A little bit less than your standard blade, but there'll still be quite a lot of toe hang in there. When you get, for example, so that first entry point from here, much more in the middle, so that will sit much more balanced when you have that. That entry point there, much more into the heel, so that will actually make it dip into the toe a lot more.
Yeah, it's quite. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's really a case of it depends on that because they're both mallets. They're both considered, if anything, naturally more balanced than that one.
Yeah.
More matte, but that will toe hang more than this one purely based on the hosel style.
Gotcha.
It's where a lot of people make mistakes when they go to buy putters because one, they don't know that they should have a certain hosel style.
Yeah.
But two, they'll go maybe look back in their past and go, "I putted really well with that putter." They'll see something very similar shape and they go, "I'll get that."
Yeah.
And that'll work really nicely for me. But then it's a completely different hosel style, and it doesn't work for you. And you standing there going, "But this used to work really well before. I don't understand why it doesn't work now."
Yeah.
It's purely just down to it's a completely different balance of putter.
This even like with the other two, I feel like when I sit them down, they fall open.
Yeah.
This just kind of just sits. How as soon as you plug it, it sits fine. That makes sense. It just sits where I put it. I'm not struggling to get it back to square. Cool, I'll take that one.
I'd say it still looked like possibly you're aiming
a little
bit
left.
Yeah, a tiny bit, so 0.67. And then you did what you've naturally done the whole time with your putter. You pushed it.
Yep.
But this time you pushed it a bit too far because your aim was slightly better than what it has been on the previous ones. And you can see there, opening it up, it's still going to put the launch a little bit higher than you can see, but that 2 degree base has come down quite a bit compared to where the Mizuno was. So that's a good start.
It's weird because I don't feel like I'm cutting across it, but you just, stats don't lie. Obviously, the technology's got better eyes than I have.
Yeah, I mean, you can again see your fracture left and basically your path there. So minus means exactly the same as what it does on TrackMan. You're going slightly to the left.
Yeah.
So that means, like I said, it's not a huge movement, but it's just enough for you to start to create that dynamic where you aim a fraction left there, and then all of a sudden you can cut it in. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to test you without a line on the ball.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy
it's probably
to.
going to be a bit different.
No, fine.
But I just want to see how well you square up or don't square up without the line on there.
Cool.
See, now I'll be very interested in where you aim this because the fact you missed it right is probably going to be a good sign that you aimed it better.
I was about to say, I think I pulled it left.
So you aimed that within half a degree of dead centre.
Okay, yeah.
The line. You then just pushed it away. See, I think you see lines slightly right, and then you get confused about where to aim.
Yep.
So then you sort of try and manipulate the putter because you're like, the face is square, that's right. So you're like, well, I'll aim left a little bit, and then you follow the face as you hit it.
Cool.
So you've built a way of working your stroke and getting it to go to the right place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just not going to allow you to be completely consistent all the time.
Yeah.
On your good day, you'll be absolutely fine. You'll time it beautifully. On your bad day, you'll just miss a few putts. Not massively off, but you'll just always feel like you're just not holding it.
Yeah. Yeah. I lip out quite a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at least I'm hitting good putts. It's getting close.
Yeah. Yeah, that stroke just came a little bit in.
Yeah,
that way,
just
that's fine.
pushed it out a little bit.
But you look at your aim, 0.02.
Yeah, so I'm actually aiming bang on almost. It's not, if I hit it straight, it's going in.
Yeah. Which the main thing with when you're doing putter fitting or you're trying to find something is, first and foremost, you've got to be able to aim the putter straight. Mm-hmm. Because technically you can build a good technique around that. But if you can never aim the putter, you have to have some sort of poor technique or something you do to manipulate it. So the fact that we've already got you aiming better, interestingly, your rotation is still very good.
Yep.
So a little bit of toe hang there, like you're not over rotating it, everything in the putter is working. Your strike's fantastic, so you hit that straight out in the middle. You're presenting the face really well. Your launch has actually improved because you're a bit more square on as you're doing it. The one thing that stands out there, which unfortunately is one of the most important, is the face
angle. Yeah.
Because that's going to dictate where you hit the putt.
Yep.
But I would say one of the major things is drop the line.
Yep.
Because to me, that's actually making it harder for you to line up the putter, and then you're just confusing your brain because you don't know which way to go with it.
Okay. Bit of a wiggly, but ended up fine.
Yeah, and again, your aim was still nearly close, just over half a degree.
Yeah.
You slightly went across and pushed it, that sort of wiggling motion. But that's more of a technique thing, because what you've got to start to do is, well, what I call like a perfect putting arc, or get close to, is start to follow that line. Have a go at putting your putter on there.
Because I spent my entire life trying to keep it straight.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the worst thing you can do in putting.
Yep.
So yeah, just go slowly and just try and let the putter follow that black line. That's it. That's the motion you're now looking to build into your stroke.
And that should probably then help me stop me trying to keep it straight, and then
it'll definitely wobble less, because you're going to pull the stroke more on a natural arc, rather than, if you think about it, you're trying to keep the putter straight. You're moving your arms or doing something to move the putter away from you.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's going to feel like it's doing a figure of eight. When you're doing that, you actually start to use your upper body more. You start to rock, because the motion is, there's going to be a little bit of twisting, there's going to be a little bit of rocking.
Yep.
It's how you combine those two to get a really nice arc. But you've almost been trying to get your arms, you've been rocking, but you're trying to get your arms away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More. Okay.
So, and it's, as you can see from there, it's not a big movement.
It's tiny. Yeah, it looks tiny, but it feels different now.
Yeah, it'll feel like you're coming round your feet like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a very subtle move in to try and help you improve that. Yeah, so really interesting.
Dead.
A little bit more arc. You can see it kept on its same line. Okay, you just slightly pushed it, because interestingly, you then created a bit more rotation as you did it. So you did that.
It's me getting used. Just twisting there.
But that's gonna generally happen to most people when they start to do that, because when you come in, you think, oh, the putter does this.
Yeah.
It'll just be as you come in, not letting the putter move around too much.
Cool.
But I'm not worried about that as of yet. I'm more interested in that you aimed it very good again.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going the right way now, which is good.
Which I think partly, if I'm being brutally honest, you could do with your Mizuno putter.
Yep.
Because the biggest thing we've changed overall is we've taken the line off the ball.
Yeah.
And then when we look at how you're delivering this, I know it's a little bit stronger, but your launch has come way down, because essentially you're using the putter more effectively. So So that would indicate, okay, take a little bit of loft off your putter, and that will really start to make a difference. Good. It just sounds a bit more solid off the putter.
Yeah.
It's like a different noise altogether.
Not kind of can't across it as much.
Yeah, which is good. Your actual path went a little bit into out, which is probably why you pushed it slightly, but your rotation was better there. So all in all, you're starting to strike the putts better. Interestingly, when you look at the green there, all your putts are now more straighter up the right-hand side.
Yep.
So you've gone from where you're aiming left and sort of pulling or pushing onto target. You've now actually started to miss a little bit to the right, which means you're probably aiming straight. You'll just need to get used to
get them coming back around.
Which is good.
Cool.
So, okay. Let's try a bit of a different feel for you. But yeah, ultimately, you've got
a good one already.
Already. I wouldn't necessarily say this needs to be changed.
Yeah.
I'll give it a little tweak.
Cool.
Just to help with the loft situation. But other than that, I think if you like a blade putter, which you seem to use quite well, I don't necessarily think you need to go buy a new one yet.
Yep, cool.
Which is, for some people, they're like, darn it, I really wanted to get a new putter.
Well, if it works, I'm happy to, Did the shafts matter as well? Like if you keep the putter but change the shaft?
So, again,
difficult.
Manufacturers will be shouting at me from saying this. No.
Yep.
The amount of stuff we've sort of done with shafts and things like this, it may feel a little bit different to you, but other than that, there's not enough evidence to say that spending £200-300 pounds on a putter shaft will dramatically change what you do with the putter. It might dramatically change the feel. So if you're someone who possibly likes a putter to feel heavier or lighter, depending on what you want it to do, you could change it through that. But the reality of how it changes the stroke or anything like this, no.
Yeah, because you don't see many crazy ones on tour. You just tend to see the standard shafts. They keep saying, oh, these shafts come out, these shafts come out. I'm like, well, no one's... The drivers, you see every different player's got a different driver, but the putters don't seem to change that much.
I'm not being funny. There's no motion enough to create it.
Yeah.
Where it would make a difference.
You're not like getting lag from
Like I say, it may change the feel of the weight, and that to someone could be the difference of, wow, I really like this, so I really hate it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's not going to change your stroke. It's not going to change how effective the ball comes off the putter. In my opinion, if anyone's trying to say that it does, they're lying.
Yeah. Thanks.
So yeah, if someone tells you, I can reinvent your putting with a different shaft in your putter, I'm sorry, but that's not true. They can reinvent your putting with a lesson or an improvement in that regard, or a putter that suits your stroke more, but definitely not through a shaft.
Cool.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you.
Does it make a difference, like you say, just even the colour of the line in the back of the putter, being in white or being in black, or?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to go test you with this one.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably go back to your putter once I've adjusted it.
Cool.
Just to see, again, whether the last one you used had a black line, this one has a black line. And then if we go back to yours, because again, if you line up, I mean, I don't necessarily think the line works for you, so I think it's not really going to be that important.
Yep.
But we actually might find yours even better because the line doesn't stand out as much.
Yeah.
You go.
It's a funny thing is, it's like with the black putters, I find the white line harder. If it makes sense, I'd rather have the black putter with a black line than a white. It's almost too off-putting almost.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it sort of hides it behind the putter itself, so you just start to use the putter face, which we can clearly see you're better at aiming that.
Bit heely.
Yeah, a tiny bit off.
Still winning.
Yeah.
That's lucky.
But yeah, interesting again, your aim's much better. Still a little bit left, but nowhere near as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a little bit of that. The heel strike made it look a bit
Yeah, because it kind of
deflected one way, you had it a bit open the other. Again, where you slightly got it, it's the launch is better, that sort of 3-degree putter this time.
Yep.
So definitely you look at the even roll, that was like 0.88
okay.
at 2 degrees, this at 3, sort of 2.5.
Yeah.
So that sort of tells us roughly where we'd want to try and get your putter to.
Cool.
You just wait for the there we go. So it may have just been a touch held off, but that definitely looked like one of your better backstrokes.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I whacked it. It's like I didn't go through as much as I wanted to.
Which is interesting, yeah, because the rotation, how you use the putter, I thought the backswing looked really good. Your aim was fantastic. You can see from the launch, you used the putter really well. You hit through the core of the golf ball, which is great. Lots and lots of good stuff there. It's just, yeah, when it then comes to the putter face, you've got to just try and let it keep moving.
Release it a little bit. Yeah.
Like I say, because of how you've aimed and what you've been doing, it's not something you're used to.
Yeah.
But looking at that, it's definitely more of a technique and things like those Visio boards, creating that arc sort of dynamic, or even a lesson just to try and get you using everything more together.
Yeah. Rather than
probably be your best investment in terms of putting compared to buying a new putter.
I'll get new wedges instead.
Of course, yeah. That's what I always say. You can
Mrs. like, what?
Yeah, invest in other parts of the game. Now you don't have to spend there. Yeah, setup looks really good. And then, yeah, this time, just try and let the putter flow a little bit more with your body. So you can definitely see as you get to there, it's almost
it's a freak. Yeah, I can't seem to get my.
So you're trying your hardest to just. That was better than before.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, because you were only a degree off, and you aimed it again perfectly.
Yeah.
But it's just you've built into that of hold it and sort of do this. Now you've got to really just let the putter.
Yeah.
What feels like you're going to be slightly more round and full.
Is that where the cutting across is coming from as well? Because I get to here and I'm like, not kind of.
Yeah, like when you look, I think when you look at good putters, that everything looks quite connected at the top. It more moves like this way, so their body ends up like that. The bad ones, they tend to arms separate from their body. And it's not that they're terrible, but you can definitely see that may lead to inconsistencies, or when there's pressure on.
Yeah.
They start to become quite vulnerable quite quickly.
Cool. Still trying to learn. I feel like I'm over-egging it.
What I'd say is when you're setting, it's trying to keep that in there and this way. At the moment, you're
coming around it.
Forcing it. So try and rest your right elbow what feels more into your rib cage as you start. So that's it. Try and get that more in there, and then feel like you keep the right elbow locked in, and you have to move your body to move your elbow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get a beep in a second.
Cool.
There we go. So keep that right elbow tucked in, and then just try and rock up and down and slightly around. So you can see your hand much more there naturally, rather than trying to turn the putter face over. Not that much.
It's always the best one.
Yeah.
I think every 350-yard drive I've done in a sim, they never count it. And it's only the 250s that seem to pop up. So with the picture of the green, the hole, this bit.
Yeah.
Are we going this way or are we going up?
We're coming from this side.
Oh, so it's coming down.
Yeah.
So this is, yeah, okay, got you now.
Yeah, it's always a little bit confusing. Sorry, that's my bad.
No, that's okay.
So, yeah, just going to reset the system. It's on a Saturday afternoon.
It's just can't cope with my amazing putting skills.
Well, I saw that one and thought, oh,
yeah, it's done.
doesn't get better than that. I'll shut myself down for the day.
Yeah.
But you could actually probably, like, I looked at how you finished it. You could see the feel of it.
Yeah.
Everything you did there, it probably felt a lot different to you as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's getting that turn in my body more than just using my arms, kind of getting used to that.
So interesting again, the purple's now this putter.
Yeah.
You can see the consistency. I mean, I know it's still to the right because you're just getting used to that.
Yeah.
But the actual consistency is pretty impressive. Right, that should be okay now.
Cool. Any beeps? Do I wait for the beeps or just give it a one?
No, you're fine.
Cool.
Yeah, really interesting. There was much less of that, much more.
I try not to look after it as well. Like,
Yeah.
I look after it with my hands,
Yeah.
just trying to hit the putt. And then I said to everyone, if my dad went, oh, you hit it and I'll look where it goes. And
Yeah.
my own lesson, just hit it and then look afterwards.
Yeah, that's good. And yeah, again, okay, just scratched the right, but definitely getting better there. And again, really consistent with what you're doing. So it's just that move now of letting the putter sort of get in there, swing round, and it will square off really naturally. Good. Okay, and again for me. But your aim's been perfect. Yeah, just opened it. And then
Yeah, I felt I didn't get around it. It's just lots of practice needs.
Yeah, like I say, it's really a case of like you're trying to keep that in. I've seen people use different things like alignment sticks into these aids that go down.
Yeah.
Basically underneath your armpits, so you do more of that movement. Like I say, tracking that line so you can see how the putter should be moving as it goes through. The nice bit is that you're now consistently aiming the putter the same way or as close to every time.
Yeah.
So you're getting better with all your dynamics. It's really just you need time to bed that in because you've always pushed.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Right, let me just move your Mizuno putter.
Cool. So you're getting married, is it?
I'm not getting married, no.
Oh, because you had a fitting or something. You have a suit fitting this afternoon.
Oh,
is it?
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, my friend's getting married.
Nice.
Yeah, so his weddings, I've got busy 2 weddings this year, both stag do's in April, one at the start, one at the end. One in Prague, one in Portugal.
Oh, nice.
Fortunately, one in Portugal is golf. So,
Cool.
Happy about that one. Because that one involves much booze as the one in Prague. I think there's about 20 of us going.
That'd be heavy, that one, I guess.
So I'll probably need a week off just for that.
Yeah.
But no, it should be good. Yeah, they've been together a reasonably long time now. So
How is that? This putter thing is getting more popular, I'd have thought. Because I'd have said that it probably is one of the most important things in the game, isn't it? Everyone likes the driver, don't get me wrong. It's you hit it far, but you hit more putts than you do anything else, don't you, I guess? But
yeah, it's definitely one of those that's sort of really taken off quite a lot. Going to the point, we unfortunately lost our putter coach who did quite a lot of our fittings earlier on in the year because he's gone full-time coaching, which understandable. So yeah, it's been sort of, we're trying to source someone who can potentially come in and do some of the coaching side of it as
Yeah.
well, because it's really good. Offers a bit of advice to people who need it, and you can really see what difference it makes from there.
Cool. Yeah, you do have every single putter going, don't you?
Yeah, we're not sure, but I will say that.
Yeah, crikey.
Yes.
It's one of the things I was fearing, like, you know, because they can get ridiculous. Like, I can't pronounce the word, Bettinardi?
Bettinardi.
I mean, they're expensive.
Yeah, they're cheaper than Scotties.
Yeah. Are they? Oh, right. Yeah. I thought they were like £600 or something.
No, they're not too. The Mez ones, the Lad Golf, they're, I think, £500 or £600 and £700.
Wow.
LA Golf, reasonably expensive. Even Roll sort of around the 400s.
Yeah.
Cameron, 400-ish again. Odyssey have got their AI milled, that's 400. The standard AR1 is 250. So yeah, a couple of got some new Cobra putters downstairs that just arrived. They're sort of quite a nice price point. I'd say most of the putters now, the well-known brands, you're sort of talking at least 250 going up. Which, yeah, it's just it's the way the world of golf has gone.
Yeah.
Of everything. Cool. I mean, I'd probably say, yeah, again, these tailor-made putters. They say reserve, I call it the Rory because of the R it always says. That's what I think it's aimed at. But yeah, most of these companies are now, everyone produces a pretty decent putter.
Yeah.
It's really just what you like the feel of, how it works for you.
Hey, you've seen Wilson Staff, they got some nice new ones as well coming out, and their irons look fantastic.
Yeah.
The new ones, but
it's always been an interesting dynamic. Like, we tried doing Wilson, it just never, whether it was just at the time, like they seem to have, like you say, you introduced some better ones. It just never really took off for us. I don't know if it was just.
I think a lot of people as well, Wilson, in the like 80s, 90s, well, earlier than that, even now, like they've been such a package kind of set thing that people kind of thought them as being cheap.
Yeah.
But even though like the higher quality ones are really fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of those, I suppose it is that shame that when you then start offering the package sets, people associate that with, oh, it must be cheap.
It's the same with like...
But saying that, interestingly, I mean, obviously Callaway have got their package set that get sells in Costco, which I've seen a lot of people use, but yeah, no one seems to associate Callaway with a beginner set of clubs.
Yeah. Even though with PXG, they used to be so expensive. Now they're like, oh, brand new drivers, £200. Like, well, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Which way are you going here?
Yeah.
Super expensive or super cheap?
Yeah, I mean, they annoyed a lot of people when they did that because it was almost an overnight thing.
Yeah, I was confused. I was like, I don't understand. Like, are they going to be less quality than your £800 driver? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one because their irons have always proved quite popular. And to be fair, like, not saying fit those people because they are still a more higher price point.
Yep.
But people have enjoyed them and really used them quite well. I'd still say I'm a bit on the fence with their driver tech. I would definitely say that don't get me wrong, I've not hit the new Black Ops one.
Thanks. Yeah.
And the early reports say that it should be a bit different. But again, time will tell of how much that can compete with the other sort of higher end brands that you know. But yeah, I suppose it's like anything, you can't, if you want to be up there, you can't get away with making a poor club.
Yeah.
You have to have something that works reasonably well.
Yeah.
Otherwise you get found out quite quickly.
Yeah. So many people with reviews these days can absolutely trash a club pretty quick.
Yeah. Right. Let's loft on this one. Let's see what happens.
It's funny how I didn't feel the wiggle either as much now that I'm trying to get it back and through.
Which, your aim, perfect. Like I said, you already had there. A little bit of a push. Again, that's going to happen. But if you notice your launch now.
Yeah, much better. 0.97.
A little bit of loft change has just helped you get that much more neutral. So it's really, like I say, the squaring it off will just come through repeatability.
Yeah.
It won't take you long, but you needed a putter you could aim straight.
Yes. what are like in terms of tips on terms? Because now if I'm not going to use a line,
Yeah.
is it like most pros? I guess they'll like pick something in front or something to kind of get used to like, hit over that. Because
Yeah, just pick your start point. I mean, whatever you're doing to line up to get it to go to the hole, you're doing it well. So
yeah,
however you're doing that seems to work. But yeah, like you say, you can just pick a point that you want to aim the putter at, or whatever you feel comfortable doing,
just
and
pop
go
it
for
over.
it.
Cool. Almost wiggled it back round.
Yeah.
Just spun it back into the hole.
That's all right. No, I didn't pick that up. So,
Okay, good.
Have a few more goes on that board.
Mm.
And just try and get your elbows what feel like they're a little bit more tucked into your rib cage. And just try and use your body. So when you come through there, let your chest open up as well. That's it. Like a golf swing, you let the chest move with it. Because remember, if you start to let your arms move away from your chest, you're separated that way.
Okay.
Pushing away. And if you watch the best putters, generally it's changed from where it used to be short, push long. The best putters now are much longer here, and almost it's no longer on the way through, or it's even a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
So because they're not trying to open up and do this, they're doing it much more here, and then it finishes there. But they're more like that.
They're not. Yeah.
Like that, or trying to do that. It's
Okay.
actually they've just moved their chest
Cool.
to the target. Yeah, don't be afraid. It's a weird thing in putting. You think, oh, why would I want to let my body move? But your body should move with putting, like anything else.
Cool. Don't know what I was doing then.
I mean, you over-exaggerate
Yeah.
a little bit too much, and like I say, that's where it gets in the backswing. But
Yeah.
interestingly, look what you did with the putter.
Yeah, face angle's way much better.
Yeah. So even though it's a big over-exaggeration, you can see how much of a difference it made into you weren't holding the putt off as much.
Cool.
And it still tracked over the hole nicely. It was just you aimed it really well, and there was less of a hold up, which is good. So try go back a little bit further, that's it, and then just feel like you can stop it more there, but you move it with the body. So back a little bit more there. You don't need to come through that much. So stop it there. Yeah, you can even stop a little bit shorter on the way through. That's it.
It's getting
That, yeah.
cool.
So that's the key, is can you use your body more effectively there, like that, rather than you're a little bit of that.
Okay.
Try and let your elbows rest in a little bit more into your ribcage if you can, and that will make you use your body along with your arms together. Good. You can actually hear it's almost popping off.
Yeah, it did sound different.
Yeah, so now you're still aiming it really well. You're getting that face angle down. There's a little bit, to be fair, because you're slightly rotating the face, that's not helping because it's slightly opening as you go through.
Okay.
Keep that square up, that will follow through more.
Cool.
But everything you're doing there, you can see the launch, so we fixed that with the loft.
Yeah.
That's a nice, easy fix. Interested with the line, you're aiming it just as well as the black line, so it doesn't have an impact as such. It's more just to do with not seeing the line on the ball.
Yep.
And again, the light blue you can see on the screen there.
Oh yeah.
It's a very similar pattern. It's a little bit right, which is what we expect at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's very consistent in what you're doing again.
Cool. Cool.
So yeah, I don't necessarily think a change is needed to the putter.
Mm-hmm.
I think a change is needed to the technique, which you're already starting to change.
Yep.
That's it. So just a little bit less rotation on the way back, and try and use the body as you come through. I reckon there's still a little bit more in there.
Yeah. Something is.
You're getting better each time.
Yeah.
You think we were over a degree missing to the right, now we're under a degree. So all these numbers, because they're in amber, what that's basically saying, at 8 feet, you would still have a possible chance of going in.
Cool.
At 15 feet, you can see there on the screen, it's just floating down the right-hand side. But what I take encouragement from, now you can aim it straight, it's just really essentially, the more you just get used to that and not letting the putter open and close, just keeping it nice and neutral, the more that putter will follow where your stroke goes, which now you're aiming straight, should go
Perfect.
straight. Just wait for the beep. There we go. Right, so you can go straight through.
I left it open then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but I know I'm doing it, which is good.
Because that's the thing, if you can feel it,
Yeah.
you can do something about it. But the nice bit for me is you look at your launch angle there, that's lower than what you were doing earlier.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of idea, you pushed it, so definitely the loft helped bring that down, square it off, and it's perfect.
Cool.
So the ball roll is now better. It's really just that finishing touch of trying to let it stroke
come through.
So it won't feel like a massive arc on the way back, and then it'll feel to you like you're really sort of moving your body to the left on the way through. So it's a small arc on the way back, let the body rotate. Really?
Yeah, closer. Much better, yeah.
Launch better.
Still aiming good as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm really happy about. There's no more aiming. And to be fair, that was actually, you aimed a tiny bit further right than what you normally did. You get less of a push. So you're getting really close now.
Cool.
Once we get a green face angle on that.
Okay. All right, come on. Green. It's close.
You take your setup. Right. Now just do that stroke again and just do the finish for me. Yeah, so when you finish, try and feel like it's just much shorter here and in there.
Okay.
At the moment, you're sort of doing that.
Yep.
So try and feel like it's much more in there. So you'll feel like you're left. That's it. Because essentially, if you're doing that, you're much more locked in here.
Okay.
At the moment, that's separating out. And that's where it's just having a little bit of a trigger to, that's it.
A bit more punchiness or kind of...
So you're not trying to keep the putter down or anything, you can see it comes up. It's just less of a that, it's much more of a turn up through here. So still you can see.
Yeah, I've always tried to punch it and turn afterwards.
Gets after.
Yeah.
And you're trying to do it with your hand. It's still better than where you were.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're just trying to do it that way rather than just let it. So there's a little bit of work there. I mean, one thing you can do, if you've got an alignment stick or anything at home, you can tuck it under like that and just practice moving like this. Because if you do that.
Yeah. Just trying to get that.
Yes, it's the lower body stays still, the upper body just moves with it. And that's why I say if you can keep your elbows what feel like they're locked into your side, it's harder to then separate. So you see the putter has to follow your body round. So
okay.
It's a big exaggeration to start off with, but I think it will really help you. And like I say, that's where possibly the investment in things like a Visio board or with a putting coach would be where you could really gain a lot of advantage and just improve what you're doing quite well a little bit further.
With the grips, is there a big difference if I just change my grip? Would it make a difference, like for the softer one?
Not for that too much. They are a slightly heavier grip.
Yeah.
So do be careful.
That's what I'm worried about.
It's going to lighten the head a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'd say for how well you aim this and what you're doing, and by the way, that's a blue face angle. So
0.00.
Yeah. So really, really good that, by the way. And you can see your launch is much better now. much more down. Your aim is still good within half a degree, so there was less push in there, so you're starting to get used to that. So yeah, a lot of factors there that you're really improving on.
Cool.
And it's just putting it all together piece by piece. But yeah, I'd be a little bit reluctant to change the grip just purely because it could affect
the head weight.
And you're using it quite nicely.
Yeah.
To me, of how you're aiming that putter and how well you swing it, and it's just getting the little fine-tuned bits, I would say stick with.
Yeah, it's fine. Happy to stick with what I've got. Yeah. It's one of those things when you think, you know, I'm going for a putter fit, and it's like, it's literally just taking the face slower, and it's perfect. Because I always putt really well with this.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, it's just a matter of.
Look, if I had come in here, I still would have taken the loft down.
Yeah.
Because that's originally how you were hitting it, and I could have just kept quiet and said, look, you're putting beautifully with it. Let me take some loft off, do it again, and you could have done it. But the long-term effect of that would have been that you're not going to improve and not get better, and you'll stagnate, or you'll find that you'll have days where you just literally can't hold anything, or it'll start to get a bit twitchy.
Yep.
And what I've really enjoyed was when you said that no longer feels like it wobbles.
Yeah, 100%. Well, now I'm not trying to keep it so straight and letting it just fall back into the arc.
Yeah. So
I feel like
that's a really good thing to hear, and for you, because if it's not wobbling, it will feel nice and stable swing through. And then really, from there, it's just let the putter swing, let it go where it wants to go.
Cool.
You spend a lot of time trying to force it in a different direction.
Yep.
And it's just a case of whatever reason. Obviously, you had that for so many years.
Yeah.
Probably just going back to it's a different feeling. It gave you something.
Yeah.
But you've got a fantastic putter that feels really great to you. We can see you can aim it really well. No more lines on the ball.
No more lines on the ball, Might get yourself one of these putting template things.
Yeah, the Visio templates. Like I say, it just gives you an idea, because if you focus on that feeling there and you've got something you can track the putter on, you can create the feeling with your body along with visualising what the putter's doing. And then when you get out, you can actually then repeat that.
It's such a small change, but it just takes such long to bed in, doesn't it? It's just.
But you see how many putts you hit there to finally get to that reaction. And like I say, there's still a little way to go there. But your strike's really good with that. Like I say, your face angle's brilliant, so then you get that ball start on the hole. It's a much more stronger noise. It's coming off the putter better. It's not bobbling up or like cutting across. It almost sounds like a bit of a soft, spinny one.
Yeah.
That sounds like a much more that's being struck. You're really using the putter well. And like I say, just a few little bits that here and there, you'll tidy that up quite nicely.
Cool.
But
lovely.
I think that's the way I'll go with it.
Okay.
As long as you're happy.
I'm very happy, Save myself a few bucks.
Yeah.
I think they're really nice. It's like the one thing I worried about was getting the feel so good on them.
Yeah.
It's hard to get, to get that.
Yeah, like I say, I'm always a big advocate. If it doesn't need to be changed, don't change it.
Yeah.
If small manipulations or just your technique can improve that, we saw technique improve some of it, and a little bit of manipulation on the putter helped a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then really, it's just down to you from there to try and take that, make it better still, but keep repeating it.
Yeah.
And then you'll just find that you'll putt more efficiently every time.
Awesome. No, thank you, mate. Really appreciate it, because, like you said, I mean, you might not think. Is it taking it down to 2 degrees now? Is it?
I took that down a degree to 3 degrees.
Yeah. So that 1 degree, it still makes such a.
Yeah.
I don't think of it. It does make such a big difference.
Yeah, like I say, when you went for the even roll that was at 2, that was coming out like 0.88.
Yeah.
The TaylorMade that was at 3 was coming out at 1.5. That one there, 2.23, very, very close. But like I say, you've still got a little bit of
just get the technique in it.
That will come down. And I would always err on UK greens being a hair's breadth on the higher launch than the lower.
Cool.
Purely because we don't putt on glass.
Yeah,
if you're in America, I'd be like, right, we can go down another degree.
Cool.
Keep it low because you're going to be putting on slick greens. But over here, okay, maybe on the odd summer course where it's been cut really tight, but the reality is they're going to be 9, maybe 10 at best on the stimp. You need a little bit of launch in your putter.
Perfect. Lovely. Oh, thank you very much.
That's all right.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
That's okay.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. That's awesome.
Cool. Take those off you.
I'll get a new fancy head cover, haven't we?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you feel better a bit.
There you go.
No, it's a lovely putter, and I really wouldn't change it. I'd keep.
This one just goes back in the loft. Well, go back on display.
Yeah. No, I'd keep using it, and I think the real definition there is you don't want a line that stands out on the putter. You don't need it. you don't need a line on the ball because it affects how you putt anyway.
Yep.
And stick with the sort of blade style, plumber's neck, works really, really efficiently for you.
With that toe hang as well, it's nice.
Yeah, like I say, it just helps to keep your rotation under control. And yeah, along with that, if you're controlling the rotation, essentially you're controlling the putt, and then in reality you can't go wrong.
Brilliant. That was awesome. I think it's a funny. I think it's so much more in depth than I mean, driver things obviously you can delve deep because obviously I've got the same thing I've kind of come in with a change. We haven't gone too crazy, but there's so much stuff to get your head around. And
yeah, like you see, like acceleration numbers. That's essentially just how hard you accelerate the putter. Interestingly, as you start to improve that turn there and where you don't follow through as much, you'll bring that acceleration number down.
Yep.
So again, that will help to start to get you to a closer constant speed. And then again, that's only going to help with one, your consistency off the putter face, like the impact speed of it, and two, your distance control. But it's not massively off, so it's not something I'm too worried about today. It's going to improve as you improve your technique.
Cool.
But the lovely things there is you've improved your aim today. We've got your launch better by changing the putter. Your rotation will improve as you get used to the arc, so you won't need to open up the putter as much, of which your face angle will keep improving like it has there because you won't be moving across and cutting it. You also won't be coming on a nice arc and opening the putter up, up there.
And Blue's robot, isn't it? 'Cause I'm so good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to make sure that everyone knows that how good that was. There we go. 0.00, just to prove to the boys.
Yeah, you can do it. But yeah, what I really like as well, you can see your path's gone. Generally, your path was a minus number, so going across it, you can see there 0.8, so you actually got it a little bit into out on your path as well.
Wicked.
So
I'm glad you know what you were looking at. It's a lot of numbers otherwise, isn't it? Just
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's numbers within numbers within numbers.
Yeah.
And there's so much detail, greater minds could decipher it more than me, but I'm here to sort of make sure that you're going in the right direction with your putting and fitting side of things. And they're really the main ones. And like I say, if you've got a good rotation, a good face angle, really it's then, right, can we take care of the launch? We've done that. Reality from there, it's just all about pick your line, hit your putt, and away you go.
wicked. So good. So good. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
That was wicked.
You've done really well. Although it feels like very small changes, it's quite a big change in your head of what you're doing.